Geert, hello.
Hi.
We are here in Poland
Yes.
and at this wonderful conference. You are one of the speakers here. How has been your experience? How did you like this conference?
I like it. It's a bit smaller than the one that I attended previous summer in Washington, D.C., but it's very well organized. I think this one was a little bit more last minute than the previous one, and so they kind of scoped it to be, effective for getting a whole bunch of people in a room to talk about, the future of education in chess and what can be done with this. So I'm very happy that they invited me. I have some experience in this area, and it's been nice to meet a whole bunch of new passionate people who want to do things with chess and help the game grow.
You're someone who's kind of changed the landscape of chess when it comes to chess learning and education. You were the CEO of Chessable.
Yes.
For how many years?
I was at Chessable for 6 years, of which I was the CEO of the company for over 3 years. I left last year, January 2025, to go do new things. But yeah, I was at Chessable for quite a while and went through the whole arc of, small startup to becoming the largest learning platform for chess in the world, which is an incredible journey, and it was an incredible honor to work with the team for so long until it was parked, as I like to say, at chess.com, which is a great place to be parked at because they have a lot of distribution and they have the largest user base in the world, and chess continues to grow, and that's good because now people have access to this material with the largest possible distribution that exists in the world.
Right. And so were you at Chessable even before the Play Magnus group came in?
Yes, I joined the early. So David Cramley is the founder and CEO of Chessable in the beginning, and he did that together with John Bartholomew. And so I joined as a freelancer in 2018, which is right around the time of the World Championship. Between Fabiano Caruana and Magnus, and then I joined full time in January 2019, and then within 6 months of me having joined the team, we became part of Play Magnus Group. So we merged with. They had just. So Play Magnus had just acquired Chess24, and within 6 months or so, they also acquired Chessable, and then it was Chessable, Chess24, and Play Magnus were one company. And then COVID happened, right? And everybody was home playing chess and studying chess. And so we had, contrary to most people's experience, I had an incredibly busy time because everything kept growing and everybody was on Chessable. And that was a really wild time in my life where I was just working all the time and things were happening.
Yeah, I could sense it because I was also streaming at that time. I got very busy with it, and everyone whom I knew was in some way or the other talking about Chessable. So, the ripples were being felt everywhere.
Yeah.
But just like going back in time, you don't come from a chess background, do you?
No, it's true. I'm a musician, first and foremost. I had and still I'm a musician. So I still tour, I still record records, I still sing and play. I have various groups that I'm a part of. I'm a front man for a hardcore metal band, and this is the music that I grew up with as a kid, skateboarding. I have a singer-songwriter folk project that I did for many years that I've released records with and that I tour with. And when I came into chess, it was much later in my life. I'm going to be 47 this year. I played my first classical chess game, I think, when I was 38 or 39. Oh. So I didn't join a chess club until very late. But I was a big fan of chess, and I studied and read a lot of chess in the 15, 20 years prior to playing my first game, and that was because it was the one thing that I did when on tour. I would travel and I would have lots of downtime, and so I always traveled with chess books. So I read the Kasparov series and, like my great predecessors, and lots of chess books and everything. That was kind of how I entertain myself and what I love to do. And so that's kind of how I, as a musician with no kind of background in club chess or tournament chess or whatever, entered into chess. I came with this great love of the game, and I had quite an outsized knowledge of what was out there, I would say, into a game that I loved playing and that I had just started to explore as a club player.
But where did this love for chess come? Was it someone in your family who taught you, or?
My mom taught me the game, and then, you know, the story is always similar, right? Like you beat your mom, you beat your father, and then I was part of like my school's chess team, and then in high school never played any chess other than just with some friends. Then I picked it back up in university, where it became this thing that me and my friends would do. We would go to a bar and play some chess. Every Thursday was the thing that we would do. That was our thing. And then I ended up joining this band in the United States, and ended up moving to the United States and living there and playing music full time. And then chess became this thing that I brought on the road with me as a thing to kind of entertain myself and not be bored. Mind you, this is, for a lot of people who are going to listen to this or watch this, this is pre-cell phone, pre-smartphones. So
this would be like in the early 2000s?
Early 2000s, yeah. I moved back to the United States in 1999, and then in the early 2000s, you know, we just started getting smartphones, but I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have any of this stuff. So I read books and listened to music, and that's how I entertained myself. And that was my chess, getting into chess. And then when I quit that band that I was in, I had a 6-month sabbatical, which was the first one where I spent a lot of time studying chess and playing. And one of my local playing buddies was the local librarian. And I would go to the library every day and we'd play. And then I moved back to the Netherlands, went to university, did a whole bunch of things, and chess again was this kind of like continuous thing. And my hero was my brother. My brother was a club player, and he would go play Tata Steel chess and all these other things.
Oh, was he strong?
Oh, my brother got up to about 2100 FIDE level at the time. And he won a few tournaments. So he won the Amsterdam Open A group. He won the Hogeveen A group.
Nice.
He won a bunch of, like mid-level tournaments, and was quite a good player. Still is. He's still around 2000 FIDE. And so I would go to support him. And that was my chess. And then many years later, after I had my musical career was kind of at a midpoint, I decided to take a sabbatical again. And that's when I really wanted to play chess myself, and I joined a club and I played my first tournament. So that's my kind of entry.
So in 2018, when you joined Chessable, was it in the US at that point? Where did Chessable begin actually? Because now everyone knows it. It's in Barcelona, right?
Yes.
They have the headquarters there and so on. But I think earlier when it started off, it was in the US.
No, it was, yes, well, partially you could say that. I mean, technically speaking, Chessable is a British company and founded in London by David. So the mailbox and the official headquarters of Chessable is in London still.
Okay.
And because David was in the UK and he partnered with John Bartholomew in the United States, it always had a community and a reach in the United States as well, right? So the co-founder was American, and so that's why Chessable, right from the start, also had a lot of traction in the US, which was a very smart decision by David to partner with someone like John, because they were both kind of up and coming at the time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what was your role when you joined in to Chessable? Like
I was asked to edit videos and edit courses. So
it's very different from being a singer, right? Like,
yes.
And this was not like something that you might have done before.
I had, so I was a power user of the site before I was asked to do something.
So in this period where you tried to learn chess, you used a lot of Chessable.
Yes.
So you liked the website a lot.
Yes, and I was really fond of the site and I used it. This was right in that time that I started playing my first tournaments and stuff. So I used it, and I was like an early power user of the site, and I was buying lots of courses. And then the Olympiad of 2018 happened. And I created a Chessable course. It's still up on the site. It's called Olympiad Tactics 2018 or whatever. And so I created that course, and at the time Chessable was quite small, and I was okay with social media. I had some reach, and I was able to interact with people. And so within the first day or 4 or 5, I had a few hundred students of this course. So it's a free course, and at the time for Chessable, that was pretty good. And so David asked me to do more. So I tried to make a course on the World Championship between Fabiano Caruana and Magnus. I failed horribly because I went way over my head. And so eventually I just unpublished that course, and but by that time I was asked, like, can you edit videos and can you edit these courses, and I was just doing all sorts of work. So I did, and then at the end of the year they asked me to become Chessable's publishing manager, and I took that job, and I thought it was interesting. So I left music and I started doing chess full time.
Wow. And what does a publishing manager do? Has to take care of all the courses that are published?
Yes. So,
wow.
And the goal was, of course, to grow the library and to create a publishing plan, a schedule, think about the kind of material that we would need.
Reach out to authors.
Exactly,
wow.
all those things. So fortunately, at that point, Chessable had some traction, not so much with grandmasters or super grandmasters yet, although we did very early on sign our first super jam, which was Hare Krishna.
Oh, yes.
So he was our first.
Wasn't it an endgame course that he did?
Much later, but his first course was on the English.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we had this funny artwork with him with a cooking hat, frying up the English.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and so that was the first thing that we did, and it was all very small stakes. He came to my parents' hometown. I lived in a small countryside town in the middle of the northern part of the Frisian countryside, and the studio was literally my office with a webcam, and he stayed at my parents' house because my parents were on vacation. So everything was very do-it-yourself, try to lower the budget as much as possible. But it was a great time, and Hadi is, of course, a very kind person and very hardworking. So that was our first Super GM, and then that cascaded and turned into getting more people on the site, and things grew. And then, of course, then Play Magnus acquired Chessable. That gave it some more credibility, and then there was a good synergy with Chess24, and then COVID happened, and then more growth started to happen. So it was a very intense year. I think the first 3 years, it was 300% growth, 200% growth, 200% growth, year over year over year. So wow. Every time it doubled or more, right? So it was pretty wild to see that go.
When did you become the CEO?
I'm probably going to mess up the year, but I left in it must have been October 2022, I think. Yeah.
So from 2018 to 22, you kind of started with the most basic things that are needed, but the most important things to create a course, to edit it, to promote it.
I did the whole thing.
And then you reached right at the top of the decision making in the company.
Yeah, it was interesting.
That's not a very common path, to reach it so quickly.
No, I don't know what happened. I got lucky in that I had really good mentor in David and also in Dimitri Snyder, who's a very early and who's still the CFO of the Play Magnus Group and now works for Chess.com. So I had very good mentors and people who trained me and helped me understand it. And I also came with my own experience from the music industry. So I did know about all of anything related to what it's like to be a creator, right? And what it's like to build an audience and to work with community and to use social media and to use your content as a way to build community. And all of those things I kind of poured into chess. And I think I brought a little bit of more fun to it. That was always a thing. Part of the slogan was always like making chess study fun. And so we tried to also, work with personalities, and Chessable's been a gamified learning platform since the beginning, so that helps, and that was part of the mission.
People in chess, they talk about ChessBase, sort of revolutionizing how people prepared because of
Absolutely.
The databases.
Yeah.
But it took them like years and years. They established in 1985.
Right.
But nowadays, people are like, learning. When it comes to learning, Chessable is the name that comes out for their courses.
Yeah.
But it didn't take them so many years. It was like maybe 6 years, 7 years in which they managed to do this. And what would you say is the secret of this success, to be so deeply embedded in the chess ecosystem in such a short time?
One, I think we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Chessable initially did very well in turning old chess books into interactive learning courses. So that helps. If you have a physical library of books that you can then digitize and turn into interactive courses, and you can then film video courses for those books, right? That helps you accelerate making a content library. And so we understood this very early on. And so in the first year, I remember being very frustrated because the book publishers were kind of dictating what we could and could not do. And so I wanted to reverse the roles. And then within 2 years, we had purchased both New in Chess and Everyman Chess. So we managed to raise capital. We used that capital to acquire those catalogs, and then we digitized them. So that helped because now all of a sudden you have a reservoir, right? A vast back catalog of fantastic chess material, which has already been proven to be popular and already has been vetted by people. So the only thing we did was take that work, put it in an interactive course, add video, and ask the audience to help us improve it even further. So that was one opportunity that we had. Two, we had this opportunity with a webcam and a chessboard and a pretty simple setup. We could remotely work with hundreds of authors at the same time. And I remember during COVID, at some point, those cameras started, those little cameras started becoming rare. And I told the video team, I was like, buy 50 of them. Mm-hmm. We will send them to everybody. We're going to run out. And a month or two later, the webcams were sold out everywhere. And authors were like, we don't have any webcams. We're like, don't worry, we got a whole package, we got it ready to send. And so we'd have these packages and we just ship them immediately. And then they would arrive, and we did everything remotely. Mm. And so that also helps. If you don't have to bring authors into a studio and have them sit down and et cetera, but you can do they could do everything from home. That allowed us to work in parallel with sometimes 10 authors at the same time. And so then you can work really quickly. So we optimized for remote work. We had the technology now with video and uploading and all this other stuff to be able to do it much faster. We had a back catalog, and that combined allowed us to go from 0 to 1,000 courses in 6 years.
Amazing. And in this entire thing, the business of chess teaching and courses, mm-hmm. there are two entities, I believe. One is the trainer who teaches.
Yes.
The other is the student who learns.
Right.
And somehow Chessable could kind of find that balance where they could add a lot of value to the student, mm-hmm. and also at the same time make it very lucrative, or you can say attractive for the trainer.
Yes.
To do it. How did you manage to strike this balance?
We, from the very early start, it was a mission of ours to pay authors a really fair share. So we wanted for them to make money. And when Chessable was burning through money and not break even, which actually
there was a phase like that.
It was up until my last year, Chessable was not profitable.
Really?
Yes. A lot of people had all sorts of ideas that Chessable was this big, massive profiting machine and all this other stuff. But we were not profitable. We invested everything back into the platform. And for the first 4 years, we paid out 60 to 80% to creators.
Wow. Because I know that a lot of people who made courses actually made a good living out of it.
Yes.
And even now, till date, they are actually earning well through it.
I'm very proud of that because that was my biggest goal. So when I came from music, one of my biggest gripes with the music industry was that it was predatory. And I believed very strongly that if we built an ecosystem for chess where creators were going to earn a living off of their educational material, it should be in a fair balance. Originally, we paid 60 to 80% out to creators, but that made us loss-making. And so we had to shift to 60-40, the other way around. And once we made that shift, we started kind of operating on break-even level, sometimes losing a little bit of money, but we had some investment that covered those losses. And that allowed us to continuously invest in scaling it to the point where now it's a profitable company, and at least I assume so for this past year. But when I left, it was a profitable company. And it allowed us to hire the right professionals, invest in the right kind of product, keep developing the platform in the direction that we wanted to go with. There's always things we want to change about it, right? Like, I'm sure that anybody who's ever scaled and built a software business will tell you that there's like 50 things that they would want to change. But to the degree that we could, making all the trade-offs between having to make money, having to improve the product, et cetera, That's as far as we got with it.
And what about the other side, the student side? I think when you are paying well to the creators, it would increase the prices for purchasing price to the student.
Right.
How did you ensure that they would buy it? Like, were there things that you thought in that direction?
We always stood for the quality of the product, and I think we delivered at the time, and I would still argue that Chessable delivers the highest quality learning education material that there is in the market. In terms of how much explanations you get from authors, to the quality of the videos, to the support that the tech team gives to fix and make changes. And so that mattered. There was also there were also some things on the platform that wasn't offered anywhere else, which is that not all authors did this, but the ones who were quite popular and who managed to build communities, they actually interacted with their students, right? You could ask a question.
In fact, I know some, like Surya Ganguly, who is my good friend. He even till now, like whenever there's a question in the forum, he replies it like.
Right.
So, some are really dedicated.
And Surya is one of the most successful authors on Chessable, precisely for that reason. We tell every single author on Chessable, if you get a question from a student, answer the question, because it not only helps all the other students who can read the question and comments, right? If you've purchased the course, you can see those comments, but it also builds a kind of loyalty, and you start to appreciate the fact that you have access to a super GM who's answering your questions, which was such a pain point for me when I was a chess improver. I was like, I don't understand.
Right.
Explain it. And then and now finally you have a place where there's this interaction. Things can always be better, but that was one of the extra bonuses and one of the extra features that Chessable offered. So that helped.
Brilliant. And when you joined in 2018, how many people were working in Chessable? And when you left, how many were there?
Oh, I think I joined as 4th or 5th team member, maybe 3rd full time. And at some point at the peak of the company's size, we had maybe 110 employees.
Wow.
Then we went through a round of reorganization, mainly during the economic downturn, and we had to, especially because we were burning through too much money, and we had overhired because we expected the growth to continue. That was kind of painful, but so I think at some point I may have left when the company was about 80 employees. Yeah, so went
That's a huge number.
Yeah, it's
for a chess company.
Surprising for me too. Still, when I think about it, I'm like, wow, so many people. Yeah, it was a pretty wild that we went from that 4 or 5 people to through that number over 100 in 4 years.
And you were the CEO for 3 years. The company was growing. What made you kind of take this decision to step back and leave Chessable? You could have continued, maybe made the company grow further.
We knew that when we were acquired by Chess.com as part of the acquisition between a merger between Chess.com and Play Magnus Group, that Chess.com was very clear that they wanted Chessable to be built again on Chess.com, and that makes sense because it's 200 times larger than Chessable, and so if you have that kind of a distribution and you build that course marketplace inside Chess.com, there's millions and millions of more people are going to discover that material. So now, in fact, there are 2. There's Chessable and there's Chess.com courses.
So like you can actually buy Chess.com premium membership and get access to Chessable courses.
Same thing, yeah. Same quality of courses. The feature set is different. Chessable has more features and is more advanced, but the content is the same, and there's continuous improvement and development on the Chess.com side of this thing as well. And so as soon as that had launched, I kind of knew that I was done. I felt like I'd come full circle. There were some other things in my personal life that I wanted to deal with, and I felt like I was done. So I gave my notice like 3 or 4 months in advance, worked with the team to kind of finish everything up, and then in January 2025, I left on really good terms. All those people are still my friends. I'm still in really great contact with everybody, and I still love Chessable, but I just wanted to do something new.
It's not easy to kind of take a step back from something that you've built.
No, but it it wasn't and it was, precisely because I felt like I couldn't really do more, and I also felt really comfortable with the people that had taken over from me. So I was like, I can just go. Like it wasn't like if I stepped away, things would go wrong. Like there's amazing people there that are better than me at doing this.
One thing that I've always been amazed by Chessable is how they were giving back to the community. Was that something that resonated with you deeply? There were tournaments that you would sponsor. I believe there were also players whom you supported.
Yeah.
Could you talk a bit about that? Is that a personal kind of something that flowed from you?
Yeah, and also David. David was very strongly believed that not only and me too is not we have an obligation towards the chess community to give back. So we, for a long time, poured a lot of money into science research. Right, we funded students who wanted to do research with chess and published articles. We had the Chessable Science Awards. We supported tournaments with sometimes with cash prizes, but a lot of times with the courses. We did the FIDE Chessable Academy for 3 years, where we put a budget of $100,000 every year into.
I remember 2021 World Championship. There were kids from all across the world who came,
including a young man called Ghosh.
Yes,
and he was part of the first year of FIDE Chessable Academy, and Prague as well.
And they all kind of benefited because the trainers were world class. I think.
Yeah.
Great.
And what's interesting about that one in particular was that actually we realized we could do better if we didn't focus on those top talents. Initially we thought, we need to focus on the most talented players and give them this opportunity. But then we realized we can't really help them much more. We can give them some training and they do benefit, but the 2 years after that, we actually changed where we supported, and we started putting much more effort into the younger players under 2000 to accelerate their growth over. So we put more effort into that, and we scaled to more countries. So the initial first year of FIDE Chessable Academy was maybe 40 countries, and then the next 2 years were 80 countries. We always made sure to go for an equal participation of men and women, or boys and girls. So that was another thing that we tried to increase.
And you always try to do it with the existing players, like in the system. Like with FIDE, you kind of did it together. You could have done it on your own.
Yeah, we could have, and
also the tournaments, like existing tournaments you would support.
Yeah.
Like you didn't create your own tournaments and so on.
No. But I mean, we're a chess learning platform. The community is paying us money, and strongly believe that if you put part of what you earn back into the community, you're going to help chess grow, and that's always been a mission. That's a mission of Chessable. It's a mission of Chess.com. That's a mission of most companies, I think.
Brilliant. And now that you are no longer part of Chessable, what's happening? You've already started your next journey in chess, in the world of chess.
Yeah, it's very new. I'm kind of hesitant to even talk about it yet. I'm here on an educational conference just because I was asked to speak. But I have started a new company called Chess Out, and the focus there is going to be on helping people to connect in real life to play chess over the board.
Wow.
And so you'll hear more about it in the next few months. Eventually, we'd like to develop an app that is going to be released in the App Store, etc. But right now, we're just experimenting with how to develop the right kind of product so that this works for real. And it's a very hard problem to solve because it's things in the real world. On the internet, when you build a tech product, you kind of have full control always. Maybe not so much over what's happening in the real world that's affecting online, but you've coded the thing and you can kind of see what the numbers are and you have all the data. But the real world is much more unpredictable, and things in real world logistics are hard. And so this is what I've been thinking about, and it's like, how can we solve this, and what needs to be done in order for that problem to be solved to some degree. And so I hope that the tech that we build is going to be in service of what we want to accomplish, which is for people to find each other to play chess in real life. So to create real connection.
It almost feels like in your life you want to kind of take up a challenge and then kind of solve it. Like for example, music was one thing, then Chessable came in. Now this part, I think you also like to run marathons. So that's also a challenge.
Yes.
So it's like once something kind of you get your attention to, you want to solve it.
That's the goal. I think that if you build something, you want to solve a problem. And my thing coming into chess late gave me this perspective that maybe most chess players who have been in competitive chess don't have. And my perspective was, wait, why are things the way that they are? And then you start asking questions, and the answer was always, well, because they are the way they are. And I would like, so simple thing, like if I go to a chess tournament, there are 300 people playing. Or for example here, we're at the European Chess Championships right now. I'm always just, there's hundreds of people here who are spending half a day or more of their time. And of course, they're spending a lot of their time in deep focus and etc. But these people are hungry, they're thirsty, etc., etc. And I'm always wondering, where are the food trucks? Where's the entertainment after? You have 600 people in this space who love to do a post-mortem. Where's the room with some music playing where people can play some casual chess and have some fun and find that connection, right? Like, and so that's part of my mission with Chess Out, is to start thinking like, can we create an atmosphere where once the competition is over, or if you're not even interested in competition, but you love chess and you want to be part of chess culture, can we create new spaces where people can meet and play chess? And I think there are hundreds of millions of people for whom chess competition is secondary, but chess is primary.
Well, I think with all the experience you have and all the things you have accomplished, it's very nice that you've kind of stuck inside the chess ecosystem, because you could have gone somewhere else and done something. So I think it's exciting that you are going to build this, and if you are able to solve this, it would be a huge thing for the chess community.
Yeah, I would love to give it I'm giving it a shot. And that's all I can say, that maybe a year from now I will be very downtrodden and very depressed that I didn't manage to figure this out. But I have an idea of how to do it, and I think my background coming from events and music and etc. helps, in that I understand how hard it is to get 100 people to all show up at the same time in one room. But now we have to do it, and the hard part isn't doing it once, the hard part is doing it consistently over years and scaling that globally. And so I'm sure there's other people who have had the same idea and who are also going to try and do this. And so I just hope that we can all together figure this out.
Geert, thank you so much for your time, and
thanks for the questions.
Good luck on this new initiative.
Thank you.